Hi everyone. So we are back once again. This time we have with us Jon Biller. So he's from Switzerland. Welcome. A very interesting topic that he'll be taking up is start small and iterate to success, a community experimentation journey. So we are like super excited to know, to learn from him. So he's a master's in social and media psychology, a former community manager and head of social media at Swisscom. He has a lot of experience in building, managing, and developing customer communities. He's also the winner of several innovation awards in Switzerland, a frequent speaker at conferences, and a lecturer in experience design. So, thank you so much for joining in. We are super excited for this amazing session. Over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be here today. Um, Today, I want to show you why experimentation is a good thing, why experimentation community is something you should try out, because ultimately it leads to success. So this is an example of a community we launched around 3 to 4 months ago. Um, and we were able to have an engagement rate close to the 70%. So what we did in this with this client is really starting small. We did a lot of research, we did a lot of experiments, and really trying to find out, does the community principle work? Does the community really can have success without building it, without having everything in place, just doing experiments. So why we need experiments, why we need to start small. If you saw the latest CMX report, yeah, I mean there are a lot of layoffs, budgets are cut. Actually, we all have to do more with less resources. That's the new reality. So a lot of people say, yeah, we have AI now that will do all or half or of our jobs, and so we don't need any more resources. Maybe it's only half of the truth, but that's the new reality. So one thing that we really have to do is doing experiments, and experiments means starting small, not investing too much time and money to get more insights and results. And based on my experience, and that's the sad but also the reality, around 70% of community initiatives really die. The question is when they die. Do they die when you already spent hundred thousands of dollars for entire community team and a platform, or do they die or seem not to be a success after a bunch of experiments? Then you ultimately learned a lot. You learned about maybe that the value proposition doesn't work. You learned maybe that the platform you were choosing does not work. You learned maybe that the community management you tried does not work. You maybe learned that the target group you were targeting is not the right target group. So with those experiments, you will learn early and not late. There are so many communities that die very late, with a lot of resources burned, with a lot of people frustrated because they invested a lot of time and passion. So it's ultimately about learning. So this mantra from Eric Ries, the only way to win is to learn faster than anybody else. From the startup world, I think it's also true for the community world. So we still have to learn. Every community is unique. So I have more than a decade experience in community building and management. I know all the platforms. I saw many communities. But still, every community is different. And that means you have to be a little bit like, step back and say, okay, this is a new group. This is a new way of community. Let's start do some experiments. So what does it mean? What's the experimental mindset? The experimental mindset helps us to be faster in the market. I mean, I used to have community projects with 6-7 figure for big enterprises, where you started to evaluate the platform, you started to recruit the community managers, the moderators, all this. It's a big project, it's a lot of money, but ultimately there was no experimentation phase before. It was just kind of a bet that this community model will work. So if you want to be fast, and fast is still one thing you have to be, those experiments will help you to be fast on the market. You, again, limited budgets and resources. Nowadays, a lot of people say, yeah, you have to do the same job with half of the money. But I found out in the past, if people also from not top down, like bottom up, try to start those community initiatives because if they think it's something of value, it's something we should do. If they say, hey, give me a few days, a few weeks, a few thousand, a few 10,000s to do some experiments and see if this works out, then we get buy-in from management. If they come and say, I want to buy a community platform for a few 100K and employ 6-7 people, they won't. So with this, it's really easy to get faster to the market to get results with limited budgets. It's a reduced risk again. If you hire people, if you have a platform, you're kind of stuck, or you're trapped in contracts, and you have people you might have to lay off. So that's a reduced risk. It's very customer centric. Experimentation means seeing, hearing, talking to the customer. So they help, they co-create, they give feedback. So there's nothing more customer-centric than experiments. And it's continuous improvement. A lot of people do this early stage and say, oh, wow, it works. It's a business model. So we go to the next step. And then they kind of stagnate. Then they start to just build things and stop experimenting. So it's a continuous process. You never stop experimenting. That's very, very, very important. So write it in the chat. How do you tick? Are you more the test like a scientist, trust the vibe, bit of both, or wait, do I have to test things? Write it in the chat. I'm interested. A, B, C, or D. So over the years, again, I will tell a little bit about our portfolio and how much we did. So we developed kind of a framework. We call it the Lean Community Cycle. So the Lean Community Cycle is a 7-steps process. It's derived from design thinking, Lean Startup, and it's really about different areas where we really start in the community. So it's define the purpose. So we really want to know what it is. We make a blueprint. We do some research, but I will go through this in a minute. We do some research and find other communities, other business models that work the same. Then the biggest parts, validate and test, doing experiments. Then we decide and invest, go the next step. We organize. That means community platform, organization. We measure the success of the community and we scale it up to the next ideas around community. So we did this many times. So Glowing Blue, we are located in Switzerland. So we are an agency. We help from the early stage of the idea to development of community platforms to operations. We work with more than 30 international customers. Currently, we have around 3 to maybe already more than 3 million customers in our communities. We work for big clients like HubSpot, TeamViewer, beloved brands like Victorinox in Switzerland, the Swiss Army knife. And we did a lot of experience during our almost 10 years or more than 10 years experience. So how does it work? So the beginning, and I think a lot of you know this from other projects. It's a little bit like the community canvas. You have to kind of create a blueprint of your community idea. So if you have the idea of a community, write it down. I mean, it can take 10 to 15 minutes. You can do it alone. You can do it in a team. But it's just writing those hypotheses. And that's very important. It's a hypothesis. At this moment, it's a hypothesis. I target retail bankers. I target investment bankers. I target personal investors. So different target groups, just as an example, and write it down. So who are your users? Why should they come together? How do they engage with each other? What's your assumption? A lot of people cannot tell what the real engagement, answer questions or asking questions. It's not enough. You really have to think, what should they do there? Write it down. Where do you come together? Is it a hosted event? Is it a community platform? Is it a social media platform? Is it a business network like LinkedIn? So you have to write down your hypothesis here. And try to write down your unique value proposition. What is different? What differentiates you from any other community that is out there. And this comes to the next phase, research and find. So differentiation in the community world and with the product world everywhere is not easy. So now you have those assumptions. Get more data. Get more data about what you are writing down. So do some research. Are there community outside your organization that doing maybe something similar? Brands, organization that do that. See if they're successful. Is it a community that have one post a month, or is it very engaging? Search for similar communities. Do some interviews, internal and external. I always start, if I have an idea about a community, if I have clients that have ideas, I encourage them to talk about it. Talk everywhere. Go to the elevator, talk to your coworkers. Reach out to clients and say, hey, there's the idea of a community. What do you think? So early involvement, early asking is very important. Pitch it to colleagues, and ultimately, never start without a list of the first 5, 10, 20, depends on the target size you want to have, potential users. They're not users yet, but they're potential users. But you will find them. I'm 100% sure during this research phase, you will just find them. They're just suddenly there because you talk to people and say, wow, it's a good idea. Involve me if you go the next step. So that's very important. At the end of this phase, you have a lot of more insights that helps you to make further decisions. Then that's the core of everything. It's the validate and test phase. In the validative test phase, you should run experiments. I will show you some experiments at the end of the session as the last part where we experimented and how this works. So you can verify the value proposition, just like landing pages with value proposition. Pitch the value propositions to different people. Do landing pages, let people sign up on those landing pages. Invite the first users to give feedback. That's very important. All the communities I work with that are really successful, they did this. They involved the users in the process. And I have an example. I just met the super users from a client of mine 10 years ago. I saw them the last time. They still say it's my community. Why? Because they co-created, they developed, they give first feedback. They're so passionate. It's their community. It's not the brand's community. And this is because we collaborated with them and we did some prototyping and testing with them. So if you have those 5, 10, 50, up to 50 users, involve them. Really do all those experiments and find out. I will tell a lot more about experiments at the end of this, at the last part of the session. After you did the experiments and found out it works, now you really start. You have to make investment decisions. As I said before, a lot of time you get some early funding from your organization that say, okay, do those experiments, come back and tell me what you find out. Now you have to prepare the thing. You have to align the business objective. You have to evaluate platforms and tools. You have to draft a high-level business case. I'm not a big fan of business cases, not only in community. Business cases often are, I know, vanity numbers that propose that go look to the future, and at the end nobody will really look into it. So, but a high-level business case, what is it? Do you want to save money? You want to get more referrals? What is it? So try to make a high-level business case. You have to have always a good pitch deck ready because there are people that are interested in your community's story, and you have to be. Have to have it ready. And of course, you have to buy your sponsors. I had a lot of clients that really went through the organization, went to marketing, went to support, went to product, and they sponsored their initiative. So it's not always like a top down topic. It's sometimes you find within the organization people that really think, I think that could work out. Let I give you some buy-in, I give you some resources, I give you some money, and this works out. As a result, you have the solid foundation now to start your community project. So if you have now the money and you have to go, try to find a community manager. I saw many communities dying because of a community manager that was not a proper fit, or a community manager that left. So I think there are a lot of other talks that really tell you about a good community manager, but it's important. It's one of the most important things in my experience to have a community manager that's passionate, that is going out, that really wants to engage with the community. Give the community a home. Again, if you start to evaluate platforms, if you go into the event version, find the platforms and go for first minimal viable community. I will tell something about this in a minute. And still involve the users. So if you have if you choose a platform as a first design, if you have a Figma design, ask the users, look, this is the first iteration. Do an online session, show them the first iteration, build a WhatsApp group, send some screenshots. That really helps. And ultimately, you start to build this so-called minimal viable community. That's the first version of a community, which gives you a maximum capability of learning. So what you really want there is it has to be the basic functionalities, a good usability, a good design, but it doesn't have to have everything. It can work for 100 users, but not 100K users. And the idea is really here to say you wanna attract the first small group. You want to establish a first community. You want to learn more about the challenges and needs of the target group. And you want to have kind of a minimal engagement with this target group, with this community. So it doesn't tackle everything, all groups, all features, all topics. So it's always this minimal thing. And this will help you to learn and iterate the community to the future. Of course, everybody wants KPIs. I told you about the business case at the beginning. So you go from the high-level numbers to those KPIs or OKRs. You can use different ways. What do you want to measure? What do you want to achieve in 3, 6, or 12 months? Do some tracking and reporting. It can be a spreadsheet at the beginning. Brian Obliger, for example, has so many good examples of setting up a good dashboard for community KPIs. Draft a high-level roadmap. So what's next? As I said, you have an MVP. You start with the MVP, but then you want to iterate and iterate. So and create a backlog of features and hypotheses you want to test. And the last phase is scaling the thing up. So communities are fluid. So you start maybe with a support community or an ambassador community, and suddenly you go into product co-development, you go into ideation, you go into co-creation of coding, whatever. It's so fluid. You can always start to change your community and find some new subgroups or within your communities that want to build their own community or within the community. So communities are never static. They're always fluid. So new business models, and then you iterate again. You do the whole cycle again. That's a little bit the basic idea of the lean community cycle. I'll give you some examples. Time-wise, I have to run a little bit, I guess. Some example here. Testing different ideas. So if you start to create a value proposition of your community, and maybe you have the first topics you want the community be about. How do you test it? So one client, it's an electric and telco provider in Switzerland. We tested different value proposition. One was around smart living, so home automation, all this stuff, energy installations, etc. And all the gadgets around these topics. And the other one was more about sustainability. And we tested those value propositions. How do we test it? We did a landing page and promoted it with a newsletter on their homepage. And we wanted signups. So we collected we wanted 100 signups over 3 weeks. We did Facebook ads, A/B tests, those different value propositions. We tested them, and we wanted a 1% conversion rate, which means sign up for the idea. Yes, I want to get more information. And we also had there was an event around where we went to the event and asked people on the street and say, listen, we have this idea of a community and we wanted a 30% sign-up rate on those people we approached. So what we found out, we got 3% conversation rate on Facebook. We got a 75% sign-up rate in favor of one idea. So all those 3 experiments that told us this idea will work better. And the results were really supporting one idea significantly. So we did 3 experiments and they came to the same result. That means we go with this value proposition next. Testing the community potential as well. So we had a client, Victorinox, that really, it's a Swiss Army knife. There's passionate collectors community out there. and they wanted to know, do they want an own branded community? So we just asked them, we approached them and asked them, hey, we have this idea of a community, can we talk to you? And we only wanted a small number, I think 30-40% of those users to collaborate. 70% wanted to talk to the brand and talk about the community. So it was a success. Then we wanted to do product co-creation, so building a personalized knife and all this stuff. So we did an internal test. So we went to product and invited them to do a first session around co-creation, and we just measured the conversion rate and see if they want to participate. So it was half successful, and we had to iterate there a little bit, but how do you want to do ideas and product creation if you don't have product on board? And you can go to product and say, hey, do you want to do this? And they say, yeah, we want. But if you invite them for a workshop, they have to invest 2 hours. This is the first sign if they really want it. So do the experiment and do really real stuff. And the last one was about a hero featured so-called collection, where users can add their personal knives in a collection. And we wanted to test this feature as a hero feature. We also did an experiment with sign up on this specific feature, and it was a success as well. So a lot of tests, value proposition, internal commitment, and feature testing with this client. Another client, we launched a minimal viable community. We asked them to sign up in early access. It's a book lover community. We contacted booksellers, and booksellers already started to write reviews. There you can write reviews there. You can participate in reading rounds. So they already created thousands of book reviews. We asked the users to give a name for the community. At the beginning, it was just a brand name. Then it was the renaming was then Book Circle. We asked for design, so we did different design iterations. It was a huge success. Within 1 year, we got 10,000 registered users and a 35% engagement rate. 10,000 users for Switzerland with an 8 million population is quite a number. Other thing is get stakeholders on board. We have a client that says, hey, if you ask 10 people about the community external, maybe 2 to 3 know it, or maybe 4. If you ask internally, maybe 1 out of 10 knows it. Why? Because they have their things. So what we want to see, want to find out, how can we make community data more accessible? So we did an experiment using just OpenAI, our community framework, Flarum, which is an open source community framework, and we made this information accessible via a chat or prompt interface. People can ask questions: how many posts on this topic? Who answered? Is it positive or negative? Stuff like this. Very successful. Another thing: automation on moderation. So auto moderation with OpenAI and Flarum. It's a 3 days POC, and it was a reduction of 60% of moderation effort. It was a news portal that really has to moderate every post, so they had a reduction of 60%. Another one was on Pulse, low-level engagement forms. It was a support community, and they were able to attract 1,500 new users in 2 days, which is the average number they have in the month, during the month, and higher engagement rate ever. So low-level engagement with Pulse, having fun stuff instead that is engaging, really helped to boost the engagement. Scale the community with auto-translation and integration. It's another example where you integrate community content into the website, and make all content auto-translated instantly. Switzerland has 3 languages, French, Italian, and German. So you can post in German, it takes 2 seconds, and then the post is available in the other language. Most of the communities have 80% German users and the rest of the others. And now we really turn it around. Every content is available for everyone. Moderation is now moderating all languages. Super users, we had 20 in German and 2 in French. Super users are now answering all the questions in all languages, a very huge success. And the last thing, it's not always a success. This is an example of a hearing impaired community we tried out with one of our developers who was hearing impaired. He was very passionate. It worked very well, but it took a little bit of his time, a few hours to build the community. Every week he got 1 to 2 hours to work on this community. They finally decided to change his role. He's now a cook. He had never time again to take care of the community, and the community died. That's what I said at the beginning. Community manager went away. But it was a very success for a short time. We found out we didn't find sponsors and stuff like this to continue it, but the learning was really, really high, learnings that we could take to the next community. Some takeaways: do more with less. Communities will fail, but fail early. Adapt your mindset, start with an MVC, and use data and empathy to get your community on board. And success is an iteration. Success is not the beginning. Success is an iterative process. That's it. Thank you. I don't know if I'm over time, but
thank you so much, Jan. This was super insightful. I would like to grab a copy of your presentation. It was really insightful. Thank you so much. And we have some questions. Veena is asking, when you say that you've done 70% engagement, how are you measuring that? It is high, for sure, but I feel like method matters. You have built a lot of communities. Do you define this independently, or do you have a general way of doing it?
Engagement is always a question. What is engaging? So if you have the big mass of all users, let's say you have a community of 1,000 users, and 100 are monthly engaged. It's a different thing than to say you have 1,000 users, 200, 300 come back, log in, and 100 are engaged. So in this example, it's definitely the entire user base was really in this period of it was really a huge success. We were overwhelmed. It was a closed community. It was not the biggest community. It was on a mutation, but all of those users really logged in and did an engagement within the community, liked something, asked a question, uploaded the picture, all this stuff within the period of time. So it's active engagement. But it really depends on the use case. It really depends, is login an engagement or not already? Or do they have to do a specific action in the community? This is always the question. But with this specific client and this specific case, it was a real engagement. That means I logged in, I registered, I logged in, and over a period of 3-4 months, I did that. 70% of those users did a direct engagement, like a comment, upload a picture, stuff like this.
Okay, thank you so much. We've been receiving some more questions. So we'll compile all of them and get them answered by our expert, by our speaker. Thank you so much, Jan, for all your time. It was great and very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.